Hey friends, this is your friend Scotty Nichols. It's a beautiful day here, the beginning of autumn around our house, and it's cooling off a little bit. It feels great. As always, the wildlife and the birds and the turkey and everything are just always around, and it's a wonderful, peaceful feeling. This morning when I got up early, I was contemplating some of the advice that was given to me by a wise man before I got married, and he said, "It often pays to be a little deaf." And I asked him, "What do you mean?" He says, well, people are just going to say things sometimes that they may mean it, or you may interpret it improperly. And because of that, it may cause a little bit of friction, a little bit of heartburn, even additional arguments that may not be necessary. I've thought about that often, and many times I've tried to practice that in my interpersonal life with friends as well as at work. I've tried to practice it as well at home. I haven't always been perfect in it, but I've tried to exercise what I call a little bit of purposeful deafness, which is just overlooking the offenses that people may or may not mean to give, but we interpret it that way. As another part of a coping mechanism, I know that many of us have challenges forgiving things that people have done to us. I certainly know in my life, if I look back 20 years, if I look back 15 years, or even 5 years, that people have done things, and really if I were to look at it, I would feel that they're almost 100% responsible, and they would probably say the thing that I'm 100% responsible. When in my heart, I really don't think that I offered any offense. I feel like I tried to be a good friend or family or whatever you want to call it, but nevertheless, the offense is given, the offense is felt, and in that case, many of us, if you're like me, may carry that twinge of just anger about the situation for a long time. I'm reminded of a story about a famous Stoic. His name was Cato. Now, Stoicism is a system of belief that tends to try to minimize negative emotions. And Cato was hanging out with some friends, and for some reason there was a man that they were hanging out with that hit him. And it says, I don't know if he slapped him or what, but immediately a bunch of his friends surrounded the man, kind of pulled him back, and one of them said, do you know who you just hit? And after that, the man was somewhat repentant, and he came to him and he said, Cato, I apologize. And because he was such a great philosopher, he may have been obligated to give this kind of answer. But he looked at the man and says, it's okay, I don't remember. Now, I'm sure his face was still stinging from the slap, or his nose may have had a little bit of blood from the punch. But he says, I don't remember. Now again, people may say that's a mind game, but you have to realize that the words that we use to associate our feelings with the past, present, or future are important. We can choose to let anger define how we feel, or we can say, I don't remember. Now, again, it may be mind games, but it's just an attempt to change perspective, because that's what we do on a daily basis about many things. But, that anger, those feelings of, not being able to forgive are a part of our walk here on earth, if you will, to try to alter that perception. It's never, ever healthy to carry those type of feelings too long. And we have to seek some type of coping mechanism if we really want to find greater peace in our life. I'm not saying to utterly forget, to utterly forgive in the sense of letting someone run over us multiple times, but for our own sanity, to address situations that perhaps we feel so strongly about, and the person that offended us is going on about life and may not even know that they offended us, or if they do, they may not care. The burden is upon us, because we may never get that apology, and even if we got the apology, it may not help us much. So my advice to you is, if you have things in your life, I know that I've done it, where I feel strongly about the way someone's treated me, I may internally at least respond to myself, I don't remember. And even if it's just for a few seconds or for a few minutes, when those feelings come up, to me it seems to lower the burden a little bit, that psychological burden that I'm carrying of bitterness. Maybe this might work for you. I invite you to try it. If you follow good principles that are good, clean, pure, powerful, and positive, I do believe I'll see you at the top. Thank you.